I am on a video posting marathon. I am posting a video like literally every 10 to 20 minutes, which might water down the content. Um, it just occurred to me that um, there may be a lot of people. Um, Listen to that. That's crazy. My room is in this corner of a building, of a bigger set of buildings. I'm literally the corner at the bottom. It's like a little pocket that goes downhill. So the actual, like my floor, which is the first floor, um, it's actually, I would say, sub-level to the surrounding landscape. So even though from the front of the building it's the first floor, if you looked at it from the back, it would look like if it was a basement. Anyways, point of that is that it's a crevice. It's sort of like a little well. So whenever the wind comes in and it or changes in pressure, especially because this is a mountain region, and it's always there's always weather anomalies around here because of the altitude and pressure changes, whatever. But the wind, just this pocket right here, my room, it sounds so crazy all the time. Sometimes I get this illusion that, oh my God, there must be a windstorm outside. I better pick up a big heavy jacket or something. And I'll go outside and it's like, sure it's windy, but it's not like deceivingly windy like those sounds. Yeah, it's not as bad as you might seem if you stepped outside, but it does kind of you kind of doubt it. You're like, I don't know, that sounds pretty bad. I kind of want to like not get blown away and not be so cold. So I always prepare even though the wind is deceiving. But back to my religion point. Um, I've noticed, at least for me, there's two kids in my church. One whose parents are they're I would say Christians that not average Christian. I that word Christian to me is very vague, especially in today's time. I guess what I'm gonna say is that since the Bible in a verse in the Bible that says you shall know them by their fruits. I think that these people, this couple, they're Christians by their fruits. That's how I can tell. Um, well, anyways, they have a kid. He's about 18 now, maybe 17 or so. And he goes to church, and he's a nice kid. He sits and he listens to the sermon and the preacher. And these preachings are in Spanish, in Spanish, Hispanic. Um, and he's kind of like me. Main language is English. I speak Spanish. I'm fluent in it. I read it. I write it. I've taken it in college at the college level, like advanced grammar and composition, things like that. So I'm fairly literate in Spanish, but he isn't because I think he came to this country when he was somewhere around 7 or so. So English is his language. So I've noticed that he struggles with the preaching and things of that nature. He may get parts of it, but not completely all of it. And about a year ago, his mom came to me and said, "Is there any way you could talk to my son? Um, because I get the feeling that he's putting science in the place of God, and he starts to believe more in science than he believes in God." And in as a scientist, because chemistry, um, senior in chemistry, about to graduate in a few months, and that might be an overstatement for me to say I'm a scientist, but as a person who studies science, um, and has to think in a scientific way, I feel like there is a strong need for a bridge, I would say, between Christianity and science. And I remember that was a struggle that I encountered when I was growing up. From the time I was, heck, 6 years old, I was making some pretty crazy questions in my head in regards with Christianity, because my family have been, well, at least my mom and dad have been Christians since I was about 3 years old. Now, I went to church and I proclaimed and did the prayer thing of, Jesus come into my heart when I was 6 years old, but that by no means meant that I was a Christian or that I was saved. It wasn't until probably, uh, I would say arguably between 16 and 21 approximately, that I felt this very strong feeling of, hmm, are you saved for real? Like, how do you know? Like, what's going on? It's intellectual coming of age, I guess, where you need to prove for things for you to believe in things. Um, but as early as 6 years old, I was asking myself some really in-depth questions, at least to my opinion, like, why is hell eternal? Must they be punished eternally if their sins were temporary? Is Will there ever be forgiveness for anyone after a millennia or a billion years, or etc. Things that I didn't comprehend at the time about the absoluteness and eternality of God. Um, and then as I continued to become educated in a sense, and I noticed that my professors, well, teachers in school, in high school, were beginning to very mildly sway us. Specifically, I had a teacher. He taught physics and physiology. I know, kind of a opposite mix type of thing, but he was a physics professor and he also taught physiology. Um, he very subtly told us, question everything, like everything. Don't take any information from people without proof. Um, and I knew where he was going. I knew what he was trying to say, and I knew that this was mental religion. But I also realized that I had very little argumentative statements or words or knowledge to make a case in front of them or against them or whatever. So I began to become curious. I'm like, surely there must be a logical explanation to God and religion, and because I see the logic behind math, 1 plus 1 is 2. I see the logic behind the square root of something, the square of something, the cube root, formulas here, formulas there. I see the logic behind physics and gravity and etc. etc. I follow the logic clearly. So there must be some logic behind scriptures, and there shouldn't be there shouldn't be an opposition, because to me at least, I thought, well, either God is a fairy tale or he's not. Um, and I just wanted answers. So uh, I'll talk about that in a little more depth in my next video in relation to this kid.